I'd caught a slight cold when I changed trains at Chicago, and 3 days in New York, 3 days of babes and booze while I waited to see The Man, hadn't helped it any. I felt lousy by the time I arrived at Peardale. For the first time in years, there was a faint trace of blood in my spit. Jim Thompson, Savage Night. Jim Thompson, what a writer this guy was. Jim Thompson is incredible. 1906, 1977. This is a Black Lizard 1991 reprint. There were numerous of these. I don't think I quite have them all. I have a couple others here I'm going to show you. Savage Night is one of my favorite Jim Thompson novels. What a hard-boiled writer this guy was. And, you know, if you haven't read any of Jim Thompson, I'm going to warn you right away, I have never read a Jim Thompson story with a happy ending. I have never found one, never read one where there was a pink bow tied at the end of it. If you know of one that's like that, use the comments, let me know. I'd like to read it. I don't claim to have read everything. Savage Night's my favorite. There are many others. Savage Night was published in, what year was this originally published? 53. Gosh, that was, you know, there I go again. But this is the 1991 reprint series that they did. And Black Lizard was an imprint of, I think it was an imprint of Random House. Vintage Books was a division of Random House. I'm sure these are still in print. If they're not, let me know. I haven't looked, but I thought they were great. So I'll just show you a couple others. Savage Night, if you haven't read Savage Night, you need to get to that. How about After Dark, My Sweet? This was made into a motion picture, according to this. I don't recall that I ever saw it. Jim Thompson, you know, there must have been a revival in the early 1990s for Jim Thompson hard-boiled crime thrillers. I mean, and look at this. These are thin little pulp novels. After Dark, My Sweet is another one of my favorites. This was 1955. Gosh. Yeah, there are no redeeming characters in these novels. There are no characters that have a cleft chin and a halo over their head. They're gritty, they're con men, they're grifters, they're murderers, they're robbers, they're thieves, they're immoral people. You get caught up in what they're doing, and it's going to sound strange, but sometimes you get caught up and you're kind of rooting for them to get through it. They usually don't get through it in a Jim Thompson novel. They usually don't get through it. No, you know, so I'm not going to give out spoilers here, but usually at the end, someone's dead. They're hanging, they're dead, they're on their way to death, they're falling out of windows. They're cold, sweaty corpses, okay? It's just that type of hard-boiled fiction. So when you're in the mood for hard-boiled pulp, crime stories, Jim Thompson is your guy. One of the all-time greats. He wrote The Getaway, too. I have a copy of it somewhere, but I don't have the Black Lizard edition. I have a different edition, and I couldn't find it. We're still in flux here as I reset the den. Part of the reset is behind me, and then that room over there that you can't see is going to be packed maybe by March. We'll see. How about a swell-looking babe? A swell-looking babe, okay? I'll read the back to you. The Manton looked like a respectable hotel, and the woman in 1004 looked like a slumming angel. Sometimes looks can kill. Combining an ingeniously nasty blackmail scheme with serpentine Oedipal intrigue, Jim Thompson's A Swell-Looking Babe is the crime novel as gothic. That's about right. This is another one. I mean, everyone that you read by this guy. This is 54. You know, it's... Gosh, I was going to read the first paragraph, but I'm not going to. You just need to discover these on your own. You know, this is like the one I read. That's what they call a hook in literature. The hook is where you read it and you're in. You're in right away. You know that you're going to finish the book or the story, whatever it is, and you're hooked. this is the technique that they teach you, or they used to. I don't know what they teach in creative writing classes now. And most of the modern authors that I follow generally know how to do it. They don't always do it with the same flair that the pulp writers did. Peter Brandvold can do it pretty well when he wants to. Usually he does it in relation to an opening paragraph that's pure action. And when he does, Peter Brandvold, I've mentioned before. I think Preston and Child can do it. They do it not always in the beginning of the story. Sometimes they'll do it at the heading of a chapter. They'll get halfway through and they'll hook you with a chapter. So there's different ways to use the hook. The better writers know how to do it well. Anyways, I ran down, don't I, without a beer in my hand. A swell-looking babe. And let's just take a look at... I got two more here. I guess I must have had a few of these. The Grifters. The Grifters was made into a movie. I think John Cusack was in that. I don't remember. This is a really good book. This is 63. And as Roy Dillon stumbled out of the shop, his face was a sickish green, and each breath he drew was an incredible agony. A hard blow in the guts can do that to a man, and Dillon had gotten a hard one. Not with a fist, which would have been bad enough, but from the butt end of a heavy club. Right away, just bam, right there in the middle, or the beginning of the book. If you saw, I don't remember much about the movie. I remember I liked it, so this goes way back, early '90s. Again, that was must have been Jim Thompson's Renaissance period or something. I don't know what they were doing. He was rediscovered, and I like that when these hard-boiled authors are rediscovered. I think that's fantastic because we get editions like this. Hell of a Woman, another short one here, Jim Thompson. Let's take a look at what the year of this originally was. It's listed as 84, so it must have been one of his later ones. It's just this has a really strange ending, by the way. Really weird book. So Jim Thompson, hard-boiled crime fiction. Great stuff to read if you haven't gotten into that. If you like crime novels, there are so many from that era. Ed McBain, who was also Evan Hunter. These are the best of the best. Really fun stuff. So I gave you a couple of, hopefully a few of you will find interest in that and follow up and see if you can find some Jim Thompson novels. Again, my favorite out of this group is Savage Knight. But they're all good. So they're all good. So if you get a chance, look into it. I hope you found that interesting, and stay well, stay happy, read a book.